Shout out Shawan Anthony.
You been there, bet you won't put that shit on the block. Pull up on you, catch you with your friends. How about the beans?
And I will say this: I think the quality of independent artists, the quality of music from indie artists, have gotten tremendously better.
Yeah, because back then it was fucking expensive. Now it's affordable for anybody, and people learn to do it themselves. They got programs now that you can just run the shit through, like
just like photography shit. And now it's in the palm of your hand. It's crazy. Half these phones is better than goddamn professional cameras. Niggas just spent down to $5,000 on this shit. You know what I'm saying? Little something in there in your hand can damn near compete just as much with that shit.
Okay.
Motherfuckers shooting full-fledged Hollywood movies. Hey, we back, man. Moment with Codac. You know what I'm saying? Love the Jam Radio. I appreciate you. Hey, that's a nice pink dress you have on there, man. So
not me, y'all.
But before we left, I was gonna say I wish she had a pink dress.
I had a pink dress on for my birthday.
Oh yeah, you did. All right, so yeah, before we left for the break, man, we was talking about this video. We were starting to go into this YouTube video that I came across on my feed. You feel what I'm saying? It's from a dude named Papa Duck. Some of y'all probably heard of the nigga. Maybe some of y'all haven't. But if you're not, go look him up, man, on YouTube. Papa Duck. You feel me? He be on that conscious shit. He don't really be talking about no buffoonery, no foolishness. None of that. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him to him. Now, his may fall deep into the quote-unquote the conspiracy theory side, but he ain't really talking about conspiracy. He backing up facts with videos like one that we got now. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're ready, you can play it. But it's on some, I know before on one of the earlier podcasts, I'm not sure how many of y'all remember, is when I showed they had an award show for like medical achievements in the scientific world. This is on some of the same lines of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? But a little bit more direct in the control that they trying to have. So we'll go into the video, and then we're going to come back and chop it up with y'all.
I told y'all, I said it 1,000 times. Did video after video. I told y'all. Now listen, you do not want to miss this video. Because I told y'all, once they start talking about this shit publicly, it is too late. It is too late. And this video going to blow y'all mind. Please pay attention. Listen, man, like, comment, subscribe if you ain't already done that. Click that link. All merch that you buy for our merch page, all proceeds goes back into this channel. This is how we spread our message, and this is how y'all can help us spread the message. And if you want to promote your product, book, your social media, YouTube page, whatever it is you got going on, go to papaduckpromo@gmail.com. Let's get it going. Everything you seen in the Matrix, when he couldn't do Kung Fu, but they downloaded it in his brain, and what he said, oh, now I can do Kung Fu. You don't understand what's about to happen. When I show y'all this video, this gonna blow your damn top. See, this is why I don't get caught up in all that other stuff a lot of times, because it's hard for me to enjoy life knowing what these people are doing. Why they got us entertained by shit, this is what they're doing. I'm finna show y'all this video. I want y'all to pay close attention. We're gonna go and get right to it. Please share this video, pay attention, and understand. It has nothing to do with God. Because these people ain't question and ask God to do none of this. Right to it. Okay, share this video, religion out of it. I want to show y'all what these people do. It has nothing to do with God. This is what they're doing. These people ain't question and ask God to do none of this. Right to it. Okay, like I say, man, pay close attention. Get to yourself. No distractions. Pay attention to this video. And like I say, we'll come back on the end of it, and then we're going to close it out. This is going to blow your top. Check this out.
Right now, scientists in laboratories around the world are developing brain chips. Now, these are chips that can be inserted into the brain, and they are wireless. And that brain chip can restore your quality of life. Would you hesitate to get the chip? No, of course not. You would say, put the chip in my brain. Put the chip in my brain.
Put the chip in my brain.
So that is starting right now, these experiments. And even more interesting, scientists have done experiments with rats, and they have chips in the rat's brain. And what they did was they taught a rat how to do certain things. And when the rat did all these complex things, it could get food. Now, it took the rat weeks to learn that. Weeks. But then they hooked the rat's brain chip to the internet. And they had another rat in another city. And instantly, they connected those 2 rats' brains. And do you know what happened? The other rat knew how to get the food right away. It didn't have to learn anything. The knowledge was transferred from one brain of a living animal to another brain. That is amazing. That opens up a world of possibilities. Because if they can do that in rats today, imagine 10 years from now what they can do in humans. And we will go there. So, mind-to-mind communication. This is something of science fiction that we all read about. But this is actually possible today, as I just showed you. So there will come a point where if we have a chip in our brain, and you out there have a chip in your brain, we can communicate. We can communicate without talking. We can communicate when you're halfway around the world. And we can exchange knowledge. So, if you look at a world where we have these chips that are connected to the internet, all of a sudden, every piece of information on the internet becomes accessible to our minds. Now, when we look back at today and we have to go to Baidu or Google and type it in, that will seem so primitive. Nobody will do that. You will just think, what knowledge do I need? And it will appear there for you to use. But it gets even weirder, stranger. Because we will not only be able to transfer knowledge, but we will be able to transfer memories. Now, so you could have an experience like skydiving, and all of a sudden you could transfer that experience to a friend. And all of a sudden they have experienced what you have experienced. It gets even weirder. Because we will be living our lives as our lives. We know our lives and our memories. But you will all of a sudden have access to anybody's life who wants to make it available to you. People will open source their lives so others can download pieces of their lives and experience those things. That will be really strange. We won't know the difference between our own memory and a memory we acquired from someone else. Think about that. It gets even stranger. So, all of us are here learning at SEEBS, right? Getting EMBAs and MBAs. Well, this will be obsolete because SEEBS will literally be in the
Yo, so I stopped at that because he can keep. I think he keep going for another like 10 so minutes or whatnot. But one, look at the choice of words he was saying. Weird and strange. Weird and strange. That can be perceived in a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? I think even later he even used some other terminology about scary or some other shit. You know, to let you know really what it is. He's trying to. You could tell he's struggling to present this in a certain way to where people really don't become afraid in the way that generally the public would be if it was just really just put out there like that. But like he said, you won't be able to tell the difference between your memories and somebody else's memory. So you got to think about the possibilities of something via the internet being able to be controlled like that inside of your brain that controls every single function that you may have. But who's to say now they're not telling you need to go and do some assassination to somebody?
Or you'll know what that's like.
Yeah.
Or what it feels like to murder or want to murder or to fuck a celebrity or fuck anybody really that you can think of. But this whole ideology of putting us on one singular level of consciousness is very alien.
Most definitely.
Ask me. And I really feel like that's what we are. It's like we're these products for aliens to have experiences. They tap into our consciousness and pull different experiences. I mean, and, you know, I watch a lot of Cosmic Disclosure. Shout out Johnny Boy. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? What the topic is, a video clip we just actually watched. And it was basically talking about, I'll let Codac.
Oh, talking about these niggas wanting to put chips in people's brains. Period. Basically. You feel what I'm saying? And just like a lot of the other stuff that they've come out with. In the beginning, they always gonna be on some, oh, it can do so much wonderful things for you.
So much good.
Like what he said, how did he lead into it? This will change your quality of life.
Right.
The same way, it's the same way they got us addicted to these goddamn cell phones.
Right.
If you're ever stranded on the side of a road,
right.
If you ever wanted to get in contact with your kids,
right.
This little device will give you all the access that you need. And before you know it, motherfuckers can't put that shit down. People commit suicide because shit they're reading online.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Completely being detached from human experience. People having straight up anxiety about being around people because they just don't know how to do it like that no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now there's another option. So like I said, the topic we was talking about, just one of those other things that where society is going. And like I said, this is where I have mixed feelings. And like I said, I play devil advocate myself because the initial thought process was like, oh my goodness, hell no, these niggas trying to find out ways to just make us all fucking robots. It reminded me of that movie that Justin Timberlake was in where you had to work for time and all that shit. But what the elite was able to live forever. Why? Because they transferred their consciousness to other avatars. It's been about like 6-7 mainstream movies that we can pull up that show you that they doing exactly that. That's exactly what they do. That's how the elite figured out exactly how to become immortal. You kill one of them, it's already set to where they consciousness is going boop download into this other sleeve avatar that's been sitting in the cryo chamber at the age that they want to be at. You know what I'm saying? And boom, this one died over here. That one already finna reboot with the consciousness and the thought process, memories, and all of the shit, and walk out and it like it never ceased to exist. You feel what I'm saying?
I be thinking.
Same thing with what is it? Altered Carbon or what was that? It's a Netflix TV show.
Altered Carbon. I've seen.
I don't know if that's the way to. It's something like that. Some carbon, some alter, some shit. It's something like that. But yeah, it's a movie about like that as well, where it's not more so just for the elite. Every person. They have a sleeve that's on the back of their neck, and that's how, you know what I'm saying? But it was almost one of those deals to where it can get inserted into anything or anybody type shit. They didn't even really have no control on what they come back looking like. So you get a new sleeve, a new body, whatever, and you come back and you was a dude or a female, and now you know what I'm saying? It was weird in that way. It was really no control on, or I want to come back as this person. Or have my sleeve inserted into this person.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And that was the only way to truly kill somebody is by destroying their stack. That's what they call it, destroying their stack. You know what I'm saying? You really have to shoot somebody right there. Or if you found it somewhere, you crush that motherfucker. But a stack could be laying around in somebody's drawer for 50 years. But their consciousness is existing on that stack. If it got inserted into something else, they right back up like they never fucking left.
Shout out to Angel Foster tuning in. She said Altered Carbon. That's what it's called.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's my research guru. She gonna find it and find it quick. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go watch this show up on Netflix, man. It'll really give you some insight on what we talking about right here with this brain chips. And like I told you, the movies is gonna tell you the truth. They at least gonna predate 10 years on what they trying to put out there.
Right. I really do feel like the missing part of the story is the alien involvement and the technology. I really feel like this is something that is going to appease them, because I was watching Passive Disclosure.
I think they're already there with that.
One of the things that they want or that they value is our experiences.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That, they don't meddle and get involved, but the way that we think and experience things and process and have emotions, like these are going to be things that are faded out essentially in the future, or in evolved consciousness. The more evolved in consciousness you become, the less emotional, the less, that's
the mixed feelings that I have.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Like I say, when you look at other stuff, read other books, other articles, other literature, research, whatever, and you like say, from dude like Billy Carson, it talked about them being able to transfer consciousness way back in the day. It talked about that these other aliens are extraterrestrial beings that were way more highly advanced than us.
Yes,
It
they
was to
couldn't
the point
even.
that where they didn't even have sexual organs. It was not. Like I say, everything became just. I want to use the word bland due to the type of experiences that we have here, the variations of differences and expand. You know what I'm saying? The expansion of just all these various combinations of shit put together to
Exactly.
make these experiences out here. And what like I said, I can see how a being that has evolved like that, like I said, if they've operated for what we would call decades, generations like that, and to be exposed now to
Lifetimes.
this, it's like, oh, now this, which is primitive, seems so freaking new. You feel what I'm saying? And I guess it'd be one of the same deals of one of us coming from a major city. If we actually had to spend 2 or 3 years out there in the bush with some primitive people, there's going to be something about that way of life that we find nostalgic compared to the way that we live now.
Completely
with this
agree.
complete hustle and bustle.
Literally
Like,
experienced that in my life.
you feel me?
I've lived.
We may be like, man, it's nice to get away from and feel the peace and get back into nature. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we doing, even with a lot of us getting back into the spirituality and the meditations and all of this type of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Getting away from a lot of the mass distractions. And so it's like, what could one do with access to all knowledge that was potentially out there? You feel what I'm saying? I understand the fears that's automatically come around it. And our general fear is going to be, somebody being able to have control over us that we do not want having control. And anything that's connected to the internet or computer can be hacked. We know this all day long. You know what I'm saying?
So if our mind in tune turns into that said computer, then that means that we ourselves can be hacked. And just like we can put stuff into the cloud or put stuff out there for other people to experience, that shit goes multiple ways. Like,
I mean, if you follow with if you follow and look at the rest of the video,
I watched the whole video. So
it talked. You seen the part where it talked about how it was this other movie where you can pay to either be a vessel or be the controller.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I can make money as a job, allowing people to control my body.
Right. In
as
a whole
an avatar.
World.
Yeah,
right.
I have no freaking control on what the hell I do, type deal. Because this person just wants to have an experience. And they in some room, some over here, some this, some that, whatever the case can be, completely removed from the reality of what's going on. But via they VR headset type shit, are they able to see and have all this fun? You know what I'm saying? Or you can pay to control a motherfucker. And like I said, that's where it's going. And we've been saying that movie right there is at least 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they've been giving us bits and pieces and telling us about that this is where it's going. But like I say, the mixed feelings I have is this just the natural progression of life? Because even with the aliens that you're talking about, when you look at reading articles like Billy Carson, like he said, they didn't start at this hyper intelligent advanced being. It got to that level.
They had,
you feel what I'm
let me
saying?
tell you something. In the 50s, is pretty much like some of the first captured extraterrestrials, right? And the first captured extraterrestrial, his name was EB1. Okay. So they crashed, and so they kept one, the other one died, you know what I'm saying? And the actual death of one of them made the people in the vicinity sick and died, because the actual decomposition of the alien, we can't even live around it. That's just a little side note. But so EB1 is confined and has a handler, and they're trying to get the information from him. They have his ship, and they can't even though they couldn't. It took them 2 years to be able to communicate with EB1, let alone for him. He only lived for 5 years before he died. Let alone him be able to try to explain to us how in the 50s how this spaceship is put together. We didn't even have the conceptuality in our brains to even be able, shit wasn't even invented yet. Like we couldn't even, you know what I mean? But now with us evolving, you know what I'm saying, and taking those bits and pieces of technology and building on them and, whatever going on like that. And then there's even interdimensional people that aren't just in this dimension or in multiple dimensions, and it's a lot. Like there's people that have experienced other shit, and they get discredited on the strength of, you know, it makes people uncomfortable, right? But I feel like the answer is in that realm.
I'm finna have to watch that shit.
What?
That's interesting. The stuff about EB1.
Oh yeah, it's called I forgot. I just said it. Cosmic Disclosure. Cosmic Disclosure is on the Gaia channel. That's the majority of what I watch. It's on the Gaia channel.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you
yeah,
get
yeah,
that, I'll be
yeah,
watching that shit.
yeah.
But Cosmic Disclosure is super dope, and it just talks about and talks and interviews people that have had actual, like they used to work for NASA, but they're like older, so their little NDAs expired, so now they can fucking run, and most of them die within you know, a certain amount, because it's like 11 seasons of it. So you know, it goes back. Like the dude talks about clones and consciousness being transferred from body to body, but how all of it essentially is alien technology. Like
Most
that's
definitely.
what we trade off with the people, and the government knows.
Right.
The government knows. They're not dumb to it.
Right. Right. But
so.
and I would even beg to differ and say that a lot of that technology isn't as alien as we may believe. I just think it's just far removed from what we've experienced. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? Or what we allow ourselves to even conceptualize?
I really do believe, like I said, and this is just a concept that I heard from Billy Carson. It was just that alien, just at its definition, without any emotional anything put behind what an alien means or is. It's just a being from out, right? So he was saying that a lot of the aliens that we have even come in contact with from way back then, like say 50s, 40s. I would even go for I'm even saying like I even be like hearing anything in the 50s ain't even the extent of what the hell we know as far as dealing with extraterrestrials. They go some shit way back from the pyramids that motherfuckers was talking about interacting with aliens.
Facts.
You feel me?
Check that. They got that too. So, ancient civilizations. It talks about you know, the building of the pyramids and stuff.
And so what he was saying was that a lot of the aliens was just coming back, but originated from here, type deal.
I was going to tell you, there's not just one alien. There's like,
just like the human race,
5 different races of aliens, and some of them mean us good. Some of us interact with our leaders, and some of them fucking come and snatch folks, and animals, and experiment. And
I heard that it was a pact that was signed. That they say actually go look at the documentation of the, and they were saying that's why some of the other aliens that are more so good saying they can't even fuck with us, because they was like, nah, y'all signed the pact with old boy, and we live by a whole different way of laws. Them pacts can't be undone, type shit.
Exactly.
But you know a movie that go into that? I think it was Jupiter Ascending or Jupiter Rising, or
those are I think it's all the same series. It's like a movie with a movie.
They could almost.
Is that military intel or an actual documentary or book? Levy, what you're speaking about, EB1? Oh, it's an action. It's from an actual show on the Gaia channel, and they are ex-military, ex-government, you know. But you know, they sign those NDAs for only for a certain amount of time. They expire, just like the papers and stuff that now we're just now allowed to see and find out about the shit from the 50s. But these people that have actually experienced it are now able to come forward and be like, "Hey, I went through this. I know that this is it, and they're hiding this from the public, and I want to tell you guys so that you don't get shocked and be, you know."
Because it's going to happen on a more realistic scale, on a more common scale. We're going to start actually interacting with aliens. I mean, they've been preparing us to just look at the movies. Look at Bright.
Yep. Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
If that ain't, but your boy Will Smith, you can go back probably his last 10 films, I think are all on some like premonition type shit.
Yeah.
Straight up. Because it's too close to the possible reality. And when you go and find other little things, you be like, that was kind of in that movie. The whole
Independence Day, that was the movie that fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was going to talk about with this whole COVID shit and goddamn I Am Legend.
I said the same shit about COVID. I felt like that shit was some alien shit. Like, people.
Well, to an extent, a lot of the stuff that I mean, it's almost like their technology is so embedded into what we have done. It's hard to say anything that we have ain't really coming from some type of aspect of that. The only thing that I would say wouldn't be alien is it's only things that are organic. But even to an extent in that, you know what I'm saying? When you watch that movie, I don't know if it's called Singularity, but it's where, you know, the dude, he's this brilliant motherfucker, but then he died and they was trying to figure out how to get his consciousness into the computer. They finally did. And then, you know what I'm saying, he started to he started to reduplicate himself so much to the point to where he was able to be like on some he got the essence of that technology to go up into the actual rain clouds. And so now when it rained, it's like he made everything connected to it, because everything that absorbed the rain that the rain fell on now became a part of the computer system and breakdown type shit. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't think the singularity, just to bring it back to your video or whatever, the whole concept of singularity takes away from individuality at the same time? Like, I feel when we say things like no one can do you like you do, and you know, you're unique, and your walk and your perspective and your experience and your human experience is unlike any other, but by unifying it with other people and sharing it to that degree, it takes away from like it as you experiencing it from your perspective.
No, we've always been aiming to do that as humans. Books, movies.
But even still, with books and movies, it's open for interpretation.
But only due to the way that we was meant to or able to digest it. Just due to technology. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were still able to keep some sensory of your own thought process just because you were still just receiving something in to that extent. You feel what I'm saying? And so to me, it's like, I don't automatically say it's a total given that people will cease to be individuals because now they have more access to more shit. We've always had access to, that's just like if you sitting down, listen to somebody and they tell you a story about this and the third, it changes your perception to an extent. Let them sit and tell you, let some female tell you about this nigga that you know, that you grew up with, that raped her back in the day. You look at this nigga totally different. You know what I'm saying? But it's a limit on how much you can empathize and how much you can relate, because it still hasn't transferred to be, in a sense, your experience. You feel what I'm saying?
So, I mean, with this chip, are we experiencing it firsthand? Are we like...
In the beginning, they saying it's all going to be a choice. You can either choose to put your memories and your experience on the open source market in the cloud to where somebody can be like, oh, okay.
Are you seeing it as the person? Because the person is only going to perceive it to the limit of their ability to perceive something. Like, the way you view something is limited to you.
You're going to feel it like you do, like it's you.
Right. But if you experience, like, we can both experience the same shit, right? But me being a female and you being a male, we're automatically going to have different perceptions of it. Right. So I'm saying this chip in unifying experiences, are we unifying it from the perspective of the person experiencing it? Are we still able to have our own perspective of what they're experiencing? You understand what I'm saying?
I do, but how can I say it? Because I'm like, it's hard, man.
It's okay.
Because it's not hard, it's just hard trying to explain exactly. Okay, I'll put it like this. Fuck the corner that's trying to beat around it. I think we put too much weight on, like I said, there are only a few things that actually even give us different perceptions. Male, female.
Right. That was the basic what I could think of.
Age.
Okay.
Right? Culture. Right? But I think we put too much weight on those things, and to me, I think that's what makes us more divided from actually being able to empathize with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Really be able to relate to somebody. Because it's in a sense like I always want to say, we so arrogant that we want to have such an individual experience. Oh, no, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, I feel this way because I'm a because I'm a nigga, I'm a man. Oh, and it's just like...
But it's nature, though. It ain't like a choice. You naturally, as a man, think a specific way. You're wired that way. You know, females, I'm a woman, I'm wired
I would say
genetically differently than you are.
How can I say
It's genetics.
Not really. I'm saying we can say it's genetics now because that's the way that we've been conditioned. I'm conditioned to feel that this is the way that a man thinks because my whole entire life, everything that I've saw about males have said, this is a male's experience.
I'm saying...
Take that away?
No, I'm saying down to... You have testosterone. There's a scientific fact. That's not nothing that no one external of you can dictate that.
I get that, but
to
me...
We're chemically and engineered differently inside. Even down to frame and structure.
I'll put it to you like this.
Yo, this is a moment with Codac for real, y'all.
I'll put it like this.
Am I tripping?
No, because it's like this. I'm trying to get you to understand. We really have to really, really, really unbiasedly understand the power of the mind. This is still a choice that we're making because we have been conditioned from when they first made, or whatever the case can be, it be a difference of male and female. This is the way that's why it's not just, I don't think it's just
chromosomes?
I don't think it's a universal law.
Chromosomes? Or what are we talking about?
Because see, you only related to chromosomes, you still always bringing it back to some type of an experience or something that relates to human, human that ain't a word, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like this. We are choosing to make these distinctions. It is a choice, even if subconsciously, and subconsciously due to what we have been exposed to. I'm saying, I think if you put individuals in a circumstance to where there was no bias placed on them from the beginning, a lot of those differences wouldn't play a factor in how they perceive the world. I'm not saying in a sense that, oh, yeah, I know I have sperm that comes out, but in a sense, it's like
a female. Sperm so aggressively.
A female still has
ovary?
Something to the extent of what can be compared to sperm. You feel what I'm saying?
Eggs? Ovaries?
Yeah.
Those are reproductive organs.
Yeah, exactly. But all the different functions that the body may actually have. I understand that, but to me, those really don't relate to how a person really perceives the world as a whole.
It does, though.
No,
and let me tell you
it's
why.
A choice.
No, as a female, scientifically made, heavily influenced by estrogen, you're a man, you're wired chemically from a place of testosterone, which is like more aggressive, more, whatever it's been proven to be, which is generally that, So I'm emotional. I'm come from a place of that, I want to say femininity just for the lack of a better word, but really I mean something estrogen dominated.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not gonna look at the same. There's no level that we're gonna be able to, we're gonna look at shit different. We're not gonna look at shit the same because you're not coming from the same place. So it's like you're not wired that way. Like
what I'm saying
chemically
is
not wired.
But those chemicals,
you're saying that you can control those chemicals and
no, here's what I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing it to if there was a species that really wasn't so dominated by the binary choices, like I said, in this dimension, we are always made to choose between X, Y, and Z. And I'm saying from the time that became a factor, we have been wired to think this. It's just, but shit. How I'm trying to say, man, because it's too many other examples in the world, or as far as just on this planet, to where you can still have a sense of identity without it being based off of whether I'm male or female. Because in the same way I can say that, oh yeah, you can say, oh, I'm going to look at something differently because I'm a female and a male. You can find a female that look at it the exact same way that I do. And not being influenced by me saying that.
No, it could be influenced from whatever she was raised upon or whatever she's been exposed to.
We always gonna go back to, but that's what
I'm saying chemically, like naturally she can fight it.
Chemically, of course, we are made differently.
That's what I'm saying. Because we're made differently.
No, you can't compare the two.
Yes.
You can't add this just because of this. Oh, this automatically is true. And I'm saying the way that a person perceives the world does not have to be solely influenced due to the differences of male and female, because there are too many examples to where a male and a female in different circumstances felt the exact same freaking way.
And I said that to say, not that that's not true, but if we look and peel the onion back, it'll be because they're predisposed to a behavior. It could be a single mother, a single father. It does, because that influences how they view it. But
that's just their experience that they've had outside of being male and female.
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how they view their experiences and in their ability to view them the same way. Naturally, like I was saying, like naturally, you can go against what you naturally or nature and suppress it, but naturally you're gonna know, like, even those females that we consider to be studs or manly or you know what I mean, when it comes down to it, they still bleed every month. You feel me? They're still a female at the end of the day, and they might personify and put out male energy for whatever reason they may be. You know, whether it's trauma, whether it's a choice, whatever the fuck, their first initial instinct, because of how they're built, is going to be what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're talking about two different things.
Oh, okay. That's possible.
Because, see, to me, you going on, it's like, I'm not going to debate that man, female, made differently, biochemically.
Okay. We can agree 100%.
there. 100%.
Okay, because that's my main point.
But I'm saying, but you're adding, but it's like you're automatically pulling along with that thought without making a distinction. And okay, now this is something different. Because being male and female, that doesn't automatically mean you're going to have a certain experience, period. Just because you're male and female.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because naturally, there are some niggas that are born with more estrogen than testosterone. Period. He's still a nigga. He's still a man. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm saying the way that we have been designed here on this plane and this dimension, we are made to be unbalanced in a sense. Because I'm a male, naturally, from the time I come out of the womb, I'm heavily swayed towards this side of the scale. There is no environment to where it invites that balance for me to really be able to relate and empathize with a female, even though I don't bleed like that. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm saying in an environment to where if you take away, like you say, if you peel away those onions of the divisions, the same thing with race. Because that's like to say a white person has to think this way just because they white. No, it's because of the way they was fucking raised and everything that they had exposed to them. And we can go back 200-300 years and we can understand the effects of DNA and memories passed down. You don't have to have this experience in order for you to be affected by the experience of being a woman. That's just shit that, like I say, from the influence of the ether and the universe being out there. There were experiences that women had, period, passed down in DNA. So it's almost in a sense like you have no choice but to think in the way that the general females have acted
prior
as
to you.
Shit from like, so when you go and look at when they talking about how memory and DNA with this chip, to me with this chip, just to talk about the chip, I just think they just trying to duplicate everything with technology. They're trying to duplicate what man did naturally without technology. I believe we lived in a world at some point where all the shit that they trying to duplicate right now was just our natural way of thinking and being, period. You feel what I'm saying? Even to the extent of transferring consciousness. It was just a level of knowledge that some people didn't have. You feel what I'm saying? But I just don't, because when you was asking about will this make it to where if they give us a chip, now I cease to be an individual. I'm not saying that's automatically, I'm not saying that's an automatic truth. I don't believe that. Okay. You feel what I'm saying? To me, it offers the possibility to where you can broaden your experience, broaden your mindset, broaden what you feel is possible, the way that you think, just due to the fact now you can fully empathize with somebody if you did choose to, or I want to see what it was like to really be loving. That don't mean it's going to be swayed or am I going to really look at it differently because I'm a male? I'm thinking in the way that now if it's just technological and not actual some shit that affects you chemically, cool. But if it's some shit that they feel like I can actually feel where like if something made you cry, I'm really finna cry. Why? Because just being a human period, outside of male or female, I can empathize with that pain.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be swayed due to if I'm a male or a female. Oh, that's going to change how I possibly would feel about it. That's all I was trying to say as far as you can still be an individual. But I think a lot of times in our society today, we allow the differences to really dictate how we feel and respond to certain situations without just being open and broad to the experience as a whole by itself. But like you said, it's a lot of times when we'll get into those modes, when we get away from a lot of the distractions, we'll be surprised how common the experience really is. It's really not so different. We ain't so much of individuals. Like I said, we all just different expressions from the same mind. That's it. But because we've been taught this way, we got to have so much pride in being so different. All right. We come up with some cool shit because we're different. But I think a lot of times it causes us not being able to relate more than what it allows us to relate to each other, because there's too many differences that are focused upon.
Right.
And allowing that to be the determining factor on how you empathize and relate to somebody.
Right.
When it's like, I should be able to empathize and relate to you, even being a male. I don't have to actually feel the essence of bleeding to be able to empathize what it's like for a female to go through a freaking cycle. If I can just sit there and listen and have an open mind and really talk to you, I should be able to understand what that experience really is. You feel what I'm saying? Now, I understand physically I may not feel it, man. I understand that may in turn cause you to think about some shit differently as well. But it is what it is. Hey, man, we had a moment with Codac. My fault for slamming on the table. We got microphones I forgot about. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Hey, y'all tune in next Tuesday. We may chop it up and have a to be continued. Because this was interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I would love for more people to chime in and tell us what you think, man. But love the Jam Radio, man. A moment with Codac. It was lovely. Holla at y'all. See y'all next Tuesday.